Dyscalculia.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Do you remember am I allowed to start on?
Carry on.
Do you remember I said to you, dyslexia is difficulty with words in Greek, and it's not, it's difficulty with sounds. Right. Dyscalculia, is again so misunderstood, so misunderstood. It's difficult with concept. So dyscalculia is all about conceptual understanding. Right, what do I mean? Okay. If I put 4 times 5 equals 20, I could turn that round to 20 divided by 5 equals 4. I'm using the same numbers, but I'm just moving them about a bit and changing the symbol. What do you like at algebra? Yeah, me too. I actually do believe that my tutor when I did my maths qualifications actually fudged my paper for me in algebra, because I needed this algebra module to get through it. And I did 3 sittings of that exam. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get my head around it. Right? It's complicated. Some people love it. I just go, what? I just cannot get my head around the concept. 4 times 5 equals 20. 20 divided by 5 equals 4 is like the most basic algebra. You're just moving stuff about and changing symbols. And yet there are many dyscalculic people who couldn't get their head around that. So, I know I'm going to make you laugh because this is going to bring back memories. There are the 4 C's.
For Andrew, there's 5. Anyway, we'll stick to the 4.
We'll stick in Dyscalculia. Now, I'm going to have to try and remember them because Gordon's stuffed this in front of me. I didn't know we were going to be talking about, I don't even think I knew we were going to be talking about dyslexia.
You had no idea what we were talking about today.
Right.
I just brought you in.
And dyscalculia I definitely didn't expect. So the 4 C's are concept, colour, context, concrete, and a bloke uptown. So, context. Maths needs to be put in a context for dyscalculia people. So, for example, I used to take my kids, if I was taking them down the A1 to London, we would be looking at the signs. Now, the lovely thing about the signs is you've got a sign actually that says 100 miles to London. I'd love to know if they put that there, just somebody, Asperger maybe put it there. Going, we should put one on the 100, that would be really nice. Whatever, or if it's accidentally there. But anyway, it says 100. Then you go a little bit further, it's 90 miles to London. Then it's 83 miles to London. It's going down. We can get a lot bit of contextual understanding here, aren't we? We're putting this in a context. We could look at our calendar, and so you've got things on your calendar. Everybody's got a calendar in the kitchen. Everybody of our age, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I would have thought so.
Mrs. Whitehouse's calendar is the font of all knowledge. If it's not on the calendar, it's not a real thing. But you're not on the calendar, Andrew. Oh, sorry. But anyway.
I get that. What do you mean you're doing that? It's not on the calendar.
It's not. You need to put it on the calendar. Okay. So anyway, on the calendar, you could count how many months till your birthday.
Yeah.
You can count how many days to your birthday. You can count, what age you will be on your birthday based on what you were on your last birthday. You can do all these different things on the calendar. You can be looking at road signs. You could be doing all that stuff. You could be measuring stuff, If I pour myself half a litre of milk, 500 ml of milk, and I pour a glass of milk, and now I've only got 300 ml of milk. This kind of stuff, it's context. It's putting it into a place that it makes sense in.
Yeah.
And so this is really important.
So, can I just the thought process?
Yeah.
So, I struggled when I always have, always will. I think you're given a maths equation, and it's something in brackets, x equals y.
Yeah.
Close brackets equals whatever.
Yeah.
And I think, what the heck are you talking about?
That's concept.
Yeah.
That's your concept. And there are people, I don't know, you know why? I don't know how to help you because I can't do it myself.
No.
And you know, we're both intelligent men, sort of, and and that concept is beyond us.
Yeah.
It's way, way beyond us. And yet here we are talking about complex neurological disorders. You know, and so actually what we have to accept is different people understand different things, and different people are going to use different things. And when my tutor, I definitely think she fudged it for me on my paper, definitely. When she did that, in her mind, I think she was going, this guy's never going to need this stuff. This is just so superfluous to his needs. And so, you know, the concept of what you're doing is just pointless almost, you know. But if I were going on to be a physicist, or you were going on to, this would be the thing to do.
Oh yeah.
You know. But then in the same way as when we were talking about things like architects and dyslexia and things like that, you know, you've got to find where you fit best. You know. And so it doesn't actually matter. What matters is what matters to you.
Yeah.
So the lorry driver needs to know that his distance to London is going down, because that tells him he's going in the right direction, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, or she. And that tells that person they're going in the right direction. But they don't need to know the things with the brackets in necessarily. No. You know, they may need to know the heaviest crates go on the back of the lorry first, or you know. So that again is the maths that they need, and that's what you've got to be considering. So we've got colour, so we've got concept, we've got context. I want to talk about concrete. Yeah, this is a big thing for me. Children need concrete resources. What they don't need is a person standing in front of a whiteboard talking to them. Yeah. That's what they don't need. I saw a text, and again, if I'd known, I'd have brought it with me, but that's not the point, because this is on the spot conversation. And it says, you know, I have 5 cubes. Yeah. How many cubes do I need to add to that to make it 7 cubes or something like that? So we got your picture of 5 cubes. Yeah. And then you work that out and you go 2 cubes. Why can't that kid have a pile of cubes in his or her hands? Yeah. You know, why can't that young person have concrete resources? Concrete resources. I was a teacher many years ago. I was a teacher for about 3 or 4 years. I didn't do it long, it wasn't my thing. But what I will say is I learned a lot. And one of the things my mentor, a fellow called Terence, said to me was, and I was teaching sort of year 2, year 3, it was year 1, 2, whatever, early on stuff, key stage 1. And he said to me, he said, first thing you do in maths, he said, get them 100 counters, get them 10 counters, and get them 1 counter. Because these kids have never seen 100 of anything. They've never seen 100 of something. I thought, God, that's such an interesting thing, isn't it? They don't know what 100 is. Yeah. You know, they don't really know what 10 is, but 100. Now, I did this, and I could put 100 counters down. Do you know what 100 counters looks like next to 10 counters? Yeah. Amazing. Amazing difference. Yes. And next to 1 counter. Again, an amazing difference. And you go, then all of a sudden 100 means something. And that's fine. We could do this with cubes for times tables, you know. So I remember getting cubes, the ones that stick to each other, unifigs. 3 times table, 3 cubes, another 3 cubes, another 3 cubes, another 3 cubes. That's 4 times 3. And you can see what it looks like. You can see these, 4 lots of 3. And then you could count the other way and go 3 lots of 4. So that's great, except that it can get confusing because people then need to consider the C number 4. And the C number 4 is colour. So you get these Unifix cubes or your counters, and you tip them out and there's yellow, red, green, blue, orange, you know, and you go, well, okay, let's get 100 of these counters, and they're all different colours. Well, then maybe the child's looking at that and going, well, why are some of them yellow? You don't want them looking at that. You want them so you need 100 red counters, or blue, or green, or yellow, or orange. It doesn't really matter. They just want to look the same. So we know they're the same without any doubt whatsoever. You know, and then what you might do, so if you've got 100 yellow ones, you might do 10 red ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you might do 1 blue one. And then with your unifix cubes, with your times tables, I want my 3 times tables to be brown. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 brown cubes. Yeah, going like that. I might even integrate that into my learning. I might say 3 times table in my learning are going to be brown, so we can make a connection. Moving that along, let's talk a bit more about colour. In colours, let's think about the concept of addition. The sum of 1 and 3. Add 1 and 3. 3 plus 1 equals, yeah, and you're getting all these different mathematical vocabulary. And so what I used to do was I'd go, right, okay, my multiplication questions are going to all be blue. Don't matter, you know, doesn't matter whether it's times or multiplied by, it doesn't matter, yeah, as long as they're all one colour. So I would have my mathematical vocabulary, you know, literally in blue or in green. So all my plus, add to, sum of, they'd all be yellow. All my divided by, you know, shared through, they would all be blue, and green for, say, multiplications and all that. So we're making it easy for people to understand concepts.
So we've got the colour, we've got the concrete, and we're doing concept and the concept. So in schools, I think they're still doing this. Certainly a few years ago when my children were at school, they were doing a times table. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18.
Right.
When I was taught, 3 times 1 is, 3 times 2 is, 3 times 3 is, 3 times 4 is. They're missing that connection. So when you're saying, well, what's 3 times 5? You can't even automatically go to it because you've not got, does that make sense?
Yeah, so this is the argument between rapid recall and recital. Can you recite your times tables? Now, my understanding is that the recital is less fashionable now, but I'm not a teacher. Yeah. Only this is again same as you, through my kids, you know. But again, it's a few years ago with my kids. But again, this is down to the individual child. For example, right. My 2 oldest children learn to recite their times table before starting school using the times table wrap on a CD in the car.
Yes.
Right. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 5 is 30. You know, and then go through all that. And my kids would sing along to this stuff, you know. When they got to school, yeah, now that is unfashionable, I understand, the recital stuff. When they got to school, yeah, they'd memorised this, or 2 of them had memorised this, and they'd go, right, okay, somebody say 5 times 5, they go 25, because they learnt it in this song. One of my kids, my 3rd child, yeah, he couldn't do that. He would, in his head, he'd go, and he'd be singing this times table rap in his head. I don't think he might still do, he's 17 now, who knows, but he'd be doing that, and then he'd go 25. Now what's the difference? The difference is time again, processing time. Yeah. So the other 2, they go straight there. He gets there a little bit later, but he still gets there.
Yeah.
And this is how we put our this is how we put our strategies in place. differently to meet different learners. And that's the important bit. So yeah, absolutely. You know, and again, you're going 5, 10, 15. I've seen them with the counting sticks, you know, and I love counting sticks. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And then going back, you know, 5, 10, 30, you know, and that again, that's just to consolidate that. And I think you need all these strategies in place. I think you need everything in place. Not just what you learn, not what I learned, but a bit of everything. And it's like throwing as much mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. But dyscalculia, very, very misunderstood condition. What I will say about dyscalculia is, it's not about, if you get your numbers upside down, around the wrong way and things like that, that's not dyscalculia, that's dyslexia, but just in numbers.
Yeah.
It's definitely the concept thing. But concept, colour, concrete, context, you'll get everywhere with that. And there we go.
Brilliant.